Creating an augmented reality scene. An augmented reality scene lets the player interact with virtual characters and items that are located in the real world. There are two different views in an augmented reality scene. When holding the device at eye level, the player can watch the scene through the real-world camera view and interact with items or characters projected onto the camera image. When pointing the device towards the ground, an alternative view is presented to the player, which shows a map view and icons for the characters and items. Let us fill an empty augmented reality scene with life now. During the tutorial scene model, we had already created an empty augmented reality scene. An augmented reality scene starts, for example, when the player walks into an activation area on the map. We want to define the boundaries of this activation area now. Click on the icon Toggle Scene Boundaries to make them visible. In our map scene, there is an element of the scene which we want to link to our new augmented reality scene. Thus, all we have to do is copy and paste the coordinates for the area boundaries and insert them. You have seen how the boundaries can be changed. This means that every time a player enters the activation area on the map, the augmented reality scene gets started and its size is one and the same with the real world. Leaving the augmented reality scene area means you are also exiting the scene. In order to get an alternative view of the scene, we place a little map behind the scene. If we want to download a corresponding map image, we attach a value to the scaling factor and click Download Map. We then copy the image into a folder for our map images and upload the image to the editor's server using the Commit button. We open the scene settings and drag the image to the area below the scene name. In addition to an image of a real map, we could also use any other graphic as a scene alternative, such as a virtual story-related map or, in fact, any graphic that comes to mind. The settings also allow us to add background music or sound, again per drag and drop. The length of the chosen sound file is shown, and you can also repeat the sound. If you set more than one sound, they will play in the order they are listed. Click Right, then New to create a new scene element with the augmented reality scene. It could be a character or an item which the player must collect. Give it a name, an alias if required, and set a height. The element should be tall enough so that it can be comfortably touched in the augmented reality view. You will need to fill the empty space under Active with a small graphic at least, an icon for example. We define now what should happen when the player taps the scene element. We edit the interactions. Right-click the scene element's name to create a new interaction like Talk, Give, or, if the element is an item, Combine. Right-click again, this time the interaction itself, then New. Double-click the line which appears in order to define several actions within the interaction. Generally, when we talk to a character, we want a new scene to start, a dialogue scene. We have already prepared a scene to show you how it works. Next, we want to give the scene element a certain look. It could be a still image or an animated GIF image. At the minimum, the default field is the one field that needs to be filled, as otherwise the player won't see the character through his camera. The other animations will be displayed at random in order to make the character appearance more dynamic. Again, do not forget to save your changes. And now let's see what we have done so far by starting the simulator. Using the pitch controller, we can simulate the switch from the augmented reality to the alternative view. It imitates the rotation of the device towards the ground. Other rotations about the space axis are controlled by the compass and the roll controller. When we tap the scene element, a dialogue scene starts. As in every other scene, you can define actions that are executed when the player enters or exits a scene. We would like to give the player the hint that by touching the priest, a dialogue will start. To do this, we define an on-enter action that displays a simple text overlay. If the player leaves the scene area, we want the player to return to the map view. We therefore need to define a return to previous scene action at the on-exit event. As the augmented reality scene was started from the map, the return to previous scene means returning to the map again. To test this feature, we need to deactivate the couch mode. By doing this, we can determine the position in the real world on the map. This will be displayed in a small map view on the bottom right of the simulator. After the internal monologue has appeared, we'll leave the scene again by moving our position outside of the scene area, and yes, indeed, the player returns to the map.